Okay, good evening everybody. Another video after so long. This time around I'm very excited to record this series of videos, right? So recently I watched this wonderful documentary in Netflix called F1, The Race for Survival. I think it's as much as we think it's all about F1, but when I watched through all the episodes and all, it brought me to a different paradigm altogether in seeing it. It's not merely about F1, but it reflects a lot about our life, and it associates a lot with the corporate world. So if you see, most of us think F1 is like it's all about racing and so on, but the way every group manages it is like a multi-million-dollar organization, and a lot of millions are involved into it in setting up the organization. And it's not just about racing. There's a huge team behind it working on a very fast pace to make sure they win the race. So I've jotted down a couple of points that went strongly into my heart and mind when I watched this series. So today I'm going to talk about one particular point, and the title goes like, "You are watched." That's the title, huh? So whenever an F1 car is in the race, right? Okay, so most of us time when we see in the TV, it's all about the driver. But actually, the actual truth is there is a big group of people sitting in their respective, like Ferrari or Red Bull, respective place of their team, constantly feeding information to the driver. Like, okay, informing, okay, at what pace are you going, who's behind you, who's in front of you, you must accelerate, you must stop, and all these things. Okay, so they're in constant in touch with the driver, number one. But there is a council which sits on top of all the races and the organizations and constantly watching the races. For an example, when they are racing, obviously you have to race in the track, right? So if at all a car overtakes, goes off track, overtakes and come in front, immediately the council will watch and they will be penalized. Which means, assuming a car goes off track and overtakes and come, the council will look at the thing through the video, and they will say, okay, this particular team, you have to go to your respective and wait, you are penalized for 10 seconds. So they have to go to their respective place. I think they call it box or something like that. You have to wait for 10 seconds before you continue your race. So every single move that you do, you are being watched. For an example, you just hit the tire and cause people to accident, you will be penalized. So in this particular F1, it is a very clear rule driven, and you can't mess around with the rule. Okay, so the bottom line is you are being watched. Now in our day-to-day life, all of us are being watched as well. See, the bottom line of this F1 race is you got to compete, but in a very straight, clear manner. No shortcuts, no illegal turns and all. Same goes to our life and the corporate world. You know, there is no shortcuts. We have to be true to our craft. We have to be true to our race. So because whenever we use the shortcuts, but the only difference here in our life and corporate world is we won't be penalized immediately. Certain things will take time. But what I would like to reassure here is you are being watched. Watched by who? A power which governs all of us, not our bosses, not those who sees us, but beyond, the divine providence. I know this is a corporate thing, and you might think, no, come on, God, divine. No. If you sit back right now and reflect back all the things that you have done, you will know that every single move that you do, you have been watched, number one. Number two is every action has an equal reaction. So it's not only one way, it is two ways. Employer to employee. Employee has to be sincere to the employer. Vice versa, the employee also has to be sincere. We move in this world that it is so common to work behind people's back. But trust me, all these shortcuts, all these unfair treatments, both ways, will see the equal amount of reaction in future. So I don't have any data to prove it. But if you, whoever you are, in whichever age you are, if you sit back and reflect, you will know that every action has an equal reaction. So I would like to leave with this video in the context of clearly to tell you that all of us are being watched by this higher energy, same as the F1 race. You are being watched. Think about it, reflect, and share your thoughts. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Sai Ganesh signing off.